For the past 2 weeks, I've been using an iPhone 7. Yeah, I know. Now for the average person, it's not really a big deal. Sure, it's a step back, definitely a compromise compared to what's out now, but when it comes to getting day-to-day tasks done, it'll get the job done. But for somebody like myself, a content creator, and someone that edits and does pretty much everything from a mobile device, it can be a problem. So first, the display. That's probably one of the biggest compromises because it's really small and it's only 720p. And honestly, it doesn't look bad when you're editing videos straight from the device. The extra real estate really helps because there's a lot in that program that you're trying to fit on a small screen. The next issue would be battery life. My goodness, battery life on the 7 is horrendous. I had the 7 before and I don't remember the battery life being this bad, and it could be because I'm using it a lot more than I did, using more demanding programs, things like that. Battery life isn't great, but I do have a remedy for that, and I got this battery case. I'd never used one of these before in the past. I was like, it looks kind of weird, but man, this has been a lifesaver. So if you're still rocking a 7, 8, maybe even a 6S, I'm not 100% sure it'll work, definitely copy one of those iPhone 7 battery cases. You will not regret it. Next will be my biggest issue, and this issue isn't just with the 7, it's with all Apple devices, and it's storage space. 32 gigabytes, come on. I mean, I know the phone came out some time ago, but damn, back then 64 gigabytes would have definitely been solid and would have helped in this situation right now. And once you get past those few things, this device is actually still really solid. Now, I'm not talking about the regular everyday stuff. We've gone over that. We know it's capable of the regular everyday tasks, but when it comes to content creation, video editing, photo editing, things like that, this phone is still capable. It's even pretty good at some gaming. I don't do a lot of crazy gaming, but it can run some things. Like video, I decided to come out to the park. Well, really, I was bringing my kids to the park, and I decided to bring my camera with me. This seemed like a good idea, so I'd have some decent scenery and not a boring white wall behind me. Shooting out at the park is actually a little bit more challenging than you'd think. I have a 3 and a 4-year-old, so I have to really kind of keep my eye on them, but also stop the video whenever they call me, especially when they get too close, because then there's too much background noise. And then sometimes there's other little kids. There's some kid just running around and he just kept staring at me, shooting some like toy in my direction. Yeah, it got a little weird, but yeah. So the camera on this device is very capable. It's been a minute since I used it, so I forgot how good it actually is. Now, regular photos, they're decent, not that great, nothing to write home about really, but you can get some really good shots with this. I did find though that using the native camera app, I got the worst results. Shutter speed always seemed to be slow every time I took a picture. Even in decent lighting, pictures always seem to be either really soft or just kind of blurry. Very weird. Don't know how to explain it. It could be a software thing. I know sometimes there are little bugs with that, with Apple, but using a third-party camera app, say like Lightroom, I tend to get some pretty good results, so I use that typically for my photos. I know a lot of people are against that, and they're like, well, why can't I just use the app that came with the phone? I'm like, it's still an app. You still have to click it. So if you download another third-party app, all you gotta do is click it just the same, and you can take pictures exactly the same. They'll save into your photos just like normal, all good. So while I was at the park with my daughters, I took a quick shot in Lightroom and proceeded to edit it. Now, this is just for demonstration purposes, so don't take me serious with these edits and what I'm doing. I'm really just kind of showing you the functionality and how the device runs with these programs, and it runs pretty well. Lightroom, sure, there are, some slight stutters in some places, a little bit of lag in others, but overall, it gets the job done. And I've noticed whenever I'm using it, I never really had the app crash on me or anything. Now for video is where this device really shines, and that's been really the kind of theme with iPhones since, I guess, the 7. You might say the 6S, because they did have the little 4K thing. I shot 4K on an SE a while back, and I really didn't like the quality of it, but they've been able to do the whole 4K thing for a minute now, and video has always looked very, very nice on iPhones, and no exception when it came to the 7. The 7 really kind of started that. I shot some really great videos, and in this case, you can get really good quality from the native app, But in the native app, I really don't like the exposure settings, and I don't like the white balance. It jumps around a little bit too much for me. I know it's kind of compensated. It's trying to really give you the best it can give without editing, because these are geared towards, you know, regular consumers, somebody that wants to do the least when it comes to the finished product. They just want to be able to take it and use it. So I get that. Best results, Filmic Pro. I know everybody says that everybody uses it, but Filmic Pro is amazing. You can get some really, really good footage. So here's some quick footage. I'll leave the audio on it just so you can hear the microphones on the device as well. And finally, just to give you an idea of overall performance, here I am playing a game called Oceanhorn 2. It's like Zelda. If you think Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, similar to that, obviously is definitely not as good. Pretty much watered down in comparison, but it's a solid mobile game that you can play. The 7 runs it pretty well. Sure, I definitely see some frame rate drops when levels load up. It does take a second for all the parts of the levels, like the grass and the trees, to kind of appear, but when it does, it runs just fine. I really don't see any stutters or lag while I'm playing, just usually in cutscenes and things like that. So can I recommend the iPhone 7? I can, if you absolutely have to do it. If you're just, like I said, a regular user, you need a phone, you want something that's decent, the 7 is perfect. It will get the job done. I do recommend getting a battery case though for that battery life. If you want to save money though and you want to create content and you like iPhone, I do recommend getting an iPhone 8 though. Base model 64 gigs. The camera's actually a lot better. I know I said the 7 camera's good, but the 8 improved a lot, and the battery life is pretty good on the 8 as well. The chip inside gonna get you better performance as well. So I'm actually gonna take the 7 back maybe within the next couple weeks, jump into an 8. Sure, I could get an 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, but man, after going back to the 7, I actually don't mind it. It was actually pretty nostalgic jumping back to it. And I got this battery case, so I feel like I'm just super invested. But that's pretty much it. More videos will be coming soon. My name is Darnell B. This is Tech on My Dresser. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your peoples. I would really, really appreciate it. Peace.